Caring for the Vulnerable, Session 2A. According to Beth Furlong, there are several factors that contribute to one being vulnerable. Let's look at them. There's social factors, which break down to 1. Life's course cumulative advantage or disadvantages, inequality in social class and nation, the use of language to diminish poor, or public policies at all levels. Those are some of the social factors. Let's look at them one by one. So cumulative advantage or disadvantage. When you think about it, those who are initially advantaged are more likely to receive a good education that leads to a good job, better health, better pension, better savings, better post-retirement, better life, right? So that's the advantage. The inequality in social classes and nations. Racial and ethnic minority receive lower quality health care. In terms of absolute mortality, the mortality disparities have increased. There's strong relationship between mortality and income inequities. So you have to think about that. The use of language to diminish the poor. If one uses negative language and it's documented, it definitely does diminish the poor from year after year. Stigmatization of the poor, and then they blame the victim. Those are all ways that they can continue this disadvantage and you're becoming vulnerable. Public policies. You look at your local, state, regional, national, and international level policies. Here in the States, they say that they might privatize Social Security, or they'll take some of the entitlements away. We always say, why don't the poor go out and get a job? But what if they can't? What if they're not educated due to the propensities that we talked about before? And there's no education. Therefore, there's no education. They can't really get a job. Therefore, the disparities continue to grow. Contribute to inequalities. There's lack of research today as to exactly why this takes place. I mean, where do we begin? So one has to think about that. And then another public policies, they have promoted negative language. You just listen to the TV today. You can hear over and over again how they shout the negative attributes of others. Secondly, there's individual or psychological factors. If there's lack of education, psychological, that individual begins to suffer. The self-esteem begins to go lower. They end up having become transplants, maybe even homeless or unemployed. The physiological changes, they become maybe depressed. Obesity will surge. There's heart disease possibly, and maybe they even turn to alcoholisms or drugs. Some solutions can be to discuss with family and friends about these particular inequities. Begin to encourage everyone to vote so we can change things, to create better public policies. And then, if all else fails, run for office yourselves. Nursing has to take action steps. We have to prevent privatization of Social Security. We have to promote education. We have to identify societal structures that perpetuate inequalities. And we have to understand policies and globalization throughout the world.